Today we're going to talk about a big topic in pediatrics, which is childhood obesity and overweight. Now, childhood obesity in children who are overweight has been increasing over the last several years, and it continues to be a big issue in pediatrics given the amount of time that kids are in front of the screen now. Either it is the smartphone, the TV, the computers. Kids are probably going out less now, especially with the pandemic that's been going on since 2020. And then with more parents working from home and just having less opportunity to take the kids out or to doing social play such as sports. So we're going to talk about if you know that your child is overweight, what can you do as a parent? And also we're going to go over exactly how do you know if your child is overweight to begin with, and some of the common tips that I give my patients and their families when they come in to talk about this very important but very sensitive topic. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Eileen. I'm a board-certified pediatrician, and on this channel, I talk about some of the most commonly discussed topics in pediatrics so that you can walk away feeling more empowered as a parent. Now, I think weight and obesity is a very difficult topic to talk about for many people for a good reason. There's a huge social stigma around your weight and your body image, and in children even more so, because a lot of parents take that internally and take it very hard. Well, I failed in doing this, or what can I do? And I feel like I can't get my really picky child to eat what I know is good for him and her. So I don't want the conversation to stop here. And I get it, guys, it is very hard to deal with a picky eater or teaching your child how to eat right, or having sometimes not everybody at home is on the same page as you. It is hard, but this conversation can continue, and there can be many positive ways to introduce healthier habits of eating and changes and modifications that can be fun and adaptable for the whole family. And remember, children usually have an easier time losing weight and learning to eat healthy more so than most adults, because most children are still in that phase where they're still learning and building their own habits and lifestyles and preferences. So I find that as a pediatrician working with so many families and patients, that when you set a good role model and give them the encouragement that they need. So as a parent, if you find your child has gained a little bit more weight than usual this past year than normal, that's okay. It's temporary. There's so many things that kids can do, just like increasing their activity and just understanding what they're eating and understanding the nutrition stuff that can really help them make the changes for the better. Now, I first want to start out with what exactly is overweight for children, and what does it mean if your child is overweight? So there are several ways to look at this. By the American Academy of Pediatrics definition, a child who is overweight is in the 85th percentile or higher in their BMI, body mass index. Anything that's over 95th percentile in terms of their BMI index, then we consider that childhood obesity, and so on. So for many people though, I find that BMI is not almost always the most accurate. I mean, it's a good tool to have an idea of where a child is in their weight to height proportion. But I think that there's a lot of components like genetics and the body composition that is so varied just depending on who you are, that it doesn't always translate into one size fits all. So what I usually tell parents is a good way to kind of gauge whether your child is overweight or gaining too much weight is just how much weight they're gaining per year. Now that means for toddlers, generally about 3 to 5 pounds a year of weight gain is as expected. So anything under 3 pounds may be a little bit too low. Anything over 5 pounds a year might be a little bit more. For teenagers and adolescents, especially during those growth spurt years, I would say 10 to 15 pounds a year is about my max that is consider a good healthy weight range and weight gain for 1 year. Now, if they're not really growing anymore and they're about 16 to 18, the weight should be pretty much the same. I think we do fluctuate anyone from 3 to 8 pounds or even 10 pounds a year. So there's a little bit of that, but if you're coming in to see your pediatrician, what I see in my office is sometimes a child has come in to see me for yearly and they gained 30 pounds since their last visit. That's when we have to sit down and really look at what's going on at home to really figure out ways that we can really intervene and make some small changes to intervene in the weight gain. As aforementioned, it's not hard for children to eat healthier and lose weight because they are generally pretty active and they want to be running around and are very curious in learning new ways of eating or just kind of following what their parents are doing. So these are some of the top tips I give my patients and their families when they are coming in and want to talk about weight management and how to make sure their child is eating a little bit healthier in order to prevent those excess pounds. Number one, increase activity. Now, this may come as a surprise for a lot of people because most kids are pretty active, and toddlers and infants, the minute they can move, they're on a go. But in this day and age, I think it does escape our minds how often that we are actually just innate and indoor and not moving around. Especially in Las Vegas when the weather gets so hot outside in the summertime, a lot of kids are just staying indoors because with the triple digits outside, it's very hard to do activities. So I recommend try to incorporate playtime outdoors. Encourage your family, maybe go on a family walk together in early mornings or just after sunset so it's not so hot. Doing activities like taking a hike or going to the lake. These things will be great family time and also get your children to be active and to move around and really have fun doing so. It makes it so much easier for them to pick up those habits that you're trying to get them to learn, and they can really incorporate into their own life. Now, if you found anything helpful in this video, please give it a like and subscribe so you can be notified for my future videos. Number two, do not use food as a reward. Now this I can speak from my personal experience coming from an Asian background. I can tell you how often that my parents would say, you know, on the weekends after a really hard week of work and schoolwork, let's go have a great meal or go get some ice cream together. And to a point, it's something that is really fun. I do think food should be celebrated, but when there is a pattern of food as a reward for every good thing or every hard thing that comes, then there's this link that food's the only way that I'm going to get rewarded or some satisfaction for work or hard work. So if your child's doing great in school, or let's say they have really aced a project or just like got their task done for the week, instead of saying, hey, we're going to go out for ice cream, maybe consider let's go to the movies together, or let's have some family time together, let's play a board game together at home. So those are all great ways to have family time, but you're not centering around the idea that food is the only way that you can be rewarded. Number three, have only healthy food options at home. Now this may be easier said than done because it means that in order to do so, everybody has to be on the same page. It doesn't mean that the parents have a secret stash of stuff somewhere else for their own snacking, but really it's very important to look at your pantries to see what kind of food is at home. If you have bags of chocolate chip cookies and chips, when your child is hungry or they're just bored, guess what? Those are going to be the first things that they're going to go for. But if you have healthier options, you can replace those with yogurt, with carrots, with crunchy vegetables that they enjoy, with fruits. When they're really hungry, they have those healthier options, and some of those are really delicious. So try to eliminate or reduce and minimize the amount of snacks and processed food that you have sitting around home, so that when your child is hungry and wants a snack throughout the day, they have those healthier options there for them. This leads to my fourth advice, which is healthy eating for children should really be a whole family game plan. And I have had patients and moms and parents and dads tell me like, I can only control what I can control, especially if there's a child with two separate families. Mom will say, he eats really good with me, but when he's with his dad or his mom, then they go out and nothing's off limit. And I get the frustration with that. But my recommendation is always just focus on what you can control. So the time that your child is with you and you can help them set good, healthy habits, that counts. Those are not times that are wasted. So if you're setting good role models when your child is spending time with you, that's the best that you can do. And believe me, it makes more of a difference than not. And they learn more from you than you think they do. And what you can't control at another household or at school, that's a totally different story. And instead of worrying about what you can't control, don't give up what you can. So don't feel discouraged. That time still counts. And for families who are all together, it's really important to be on the same page. So if you're telling your children that they can't have certain snacks and food, but you are doing that on the side, then it's really hard, because children really like to follow and copy you. They like to have good role models that they can look up to, and they want to emulate you. So I think it's very important when I have this conversation about helping your child attain a healthy weight to really have both parents on board, and sometimes the grandparents as well, so that everyone knows what we're trying to do, why certain foods should be limited, and why certain healthier options should be offered. Now, the last tip in this video is probably the easiest to maintain, and that is avoiding sugary drinks for your child. There's no AAP guidelines for chocolate milk, for excessive juice, or soft drinks like Diet Coke, or even just regular Coke, or any kind of soda for your children. That is because the way we drink our fluids is so easy to intake an excess amount of sugar without realizing it, because they taste delicious. If you look at how much sugar is in a can of soda, it will surprise you. It's more than a cup of sugar. So the easiest way to eliminate those excess calories that I consider empty calories because they don't carry any nutrition is to avoid those sugary drinks. Now, what about juices and like yogurt with sweeteners in it? I always recommend read the label. You want to kind of look at your label, the food label, and look at where it says added sugar. And you don't want the added sugar to really be more than 10 grams per serving, to minimize the amount of sugar, extra sugar that they're taking in a day. So that's a good guideline to go with. For juices, generally 4 ounces or less is good. I always prefer the whole fruit, the real fruit, than what comes in a carton. So those are my recommendations. The 5 things that I generally recommend most families to think about to help them navigate this very, very challenging topic, which is getting their child to a healthy weight. With so many options and so much processed food that's constantly blasting us on the media, it's very hard to make good, healthier choices. But the little things that you do matter. So try these out at home, and let me know if you tried any other methods that really helped your child in terms of their weight management. I'll be happy to hear them. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope this video has been helpful for you to start thinking about some of the ways that you can implement these methods into your home to help your child lose weight or get into the healthy weight range. And then if you haven't already, the other videos on picky eater and some feeding tips may be helpful for you as well. As always, take care, be safe, and see you guys back here next time.